Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Captain's Quarters, the unofficial Star Trek Rewatch podcast, where we are rewatching the entire Star Trek franchise, starting at the beginning of the official chronology, working our way through. Today, we're talking about Star Trek Discovery, the season 2 finale, season 2, episode 14, called Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2. It's finally upon us, Jason.
It is.
The moment we've been teasing and talking about for 2 seasons, when
Yeah.
Discovery jumps into the future, which has major implications for this podcast
Yes.
because we're doing things via the Star Trek in-universe chronology,
Yes. Yes.
not release order. That means that this is where we depart USS Discovery for a very long time.
We do. Yes. 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 And it's a little sad. I'm a little sad, actually, a little bit. Not too
Are
much,
you?
but a little bit.
Yeah, see, I only feel excitement. There's something very exciting about starting a new one.
Yeah.
Um, it's exhilarating. Um,
Don't get me wrong. I'm excited to start Star Trek the original series, but it is like I was a little wistful that I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to take a break from Discovery and her crew and for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, many years, we will come back to
Yeah.
Discovery
Yeah.
and we won't remember anything about seasons one and
Not
two.
a thing. Not a thing. Not a thing, unfortunately.
And so, you know, spoiler alert, we had talked about where we're gonna go next.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Jason did research. I did not do research before
I
this
did.
episode.
I did.
Okay.
It will be Star Trek The Cage.
Yeah.
And then and this is gonna be interesting. I think I didn't work it out like if I did it every week, because that's what we usually do. Obviously, there are times when life happens to both of us and we take a couple of weeks off and not come back. But it'll be interesting to see how it will work with Strange New Worlds, because at potentially we could catch up with Strange New Worlds and be like teeth, chattering and being like, "Oh, what's going on next week? We don't know."
Oh, that would be exciting. Man, that would be awesome.
Yes,
That should be our New Year's resolution is to get caught up
to
in
get
that
caught up.
regard.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you know how many seasons of Strange New Worlds there has been?
So there's been two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
there's
that's
been two,
doable.
and it's about, I think it's 8, 9, 10 episodes, modern television, 8, 9, 10 episodes per season. So, you know, I think it could be potentially be possible to catch up to season 3, which has yet to come out. And yeah,
Very cool.
it should come out soon though.
Yeah, we got to do this, man. We got to
Yeah,
make this happen.
yeah.
That is a
And I'm surprised it's part 2, not part 2.
Oh man. Okay. So let's do the synopsis via fandom.com as I
Mm-hmm.
always do.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. The USS Discovery battles against Control in a fight not only for their lives but for the future. With a little help from some unexpected friends, Spock and Burnham discern vital new connections between the red signals, while Burnham faces one of life's harshest truths. The right decisions are often the hardest to make. So, this episode is one big space battle.
Yep.
And that makes Jason's and mine's jobs easier
Yep.
because there ends up not being a lot to talk about. But
Not much.
the other thing is that this episode was very long. And so a lot did happen. It was like an hour, it was over an hour long. And so we ended part one, this battle with Control and their swarm of like drone jets or whatever was closing in on Discovery. And the idea is that they built the suit based off the suit that Burnham's mom built, and they have a time crystal that Pike got from the Klingon monks, and very action packed. Just the whole episode, they're under attack, they're outnumbered. Um, throughout the episode, the shields are decreasing more and more and more. Um, they are during the attack, they're literally still building the suit. They're still synthesizing it. Um, I mean, like okay, so she gets in the suit. Spock gets in one of the little fighter jets. I'm calling it a jet. That's not the right term.
He gets into a shuttle.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
modified shuttle that
Yeah.
is yeah. So um, yeah, she Burnham in the suit realizes that the red signals that they've been following were actually ones that she was creating. She then plots a course before she's going to do the jump where she goes into the future and Discovery follows her. She plots a course to go do those tasks. So we kind of get um, a cool view of her going into time where everything kind of stands still, but then she's like in this weird realm, and what you see of the battle turns into like a flat plane. And so yeah, she goes and does that,
It's
and we kind of yeah, good.
it was basically a really, from my perspective, it was kind of a cool clip show.
Yeah.
You know, TV shows, I don't know if they still do them now, but back then, like
Yeah.
mid-season, you'd have like a clip show of like all the little clips
Mm-hmm.
from all the episodes earlier. It was kind of a cool clip show, and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun, and that makes sense that, they had to go back to Tara Lee's, they had to
Mm-hmm.
have these hit points. Uh-oh,
Sure.
Star Wars reference coming up. Wayfinder. Um,
Yeah.
you know, they had to go make sure that Discovery finds Jet Reno and to Terra Elysium, to excuse me, Nahar, to find like the Queen.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, they had to go to Saru's planet and
Right.
go, yeah. So that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And so what you're talking about, those clip shows, I think I talked about it on this podcast, but the lowest rated episode of Friends is the season 3 or 4 clip show.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah. Um, and I actually do remember when it was actually when Friends was running and you would watch it, and a new week, a new episode of Friends, and then it would start, and then you recognize that it's a clip show, and you would just kind of be crestfallen, like, oh man.
So
Um,
do you agree that it's one of the worst episodes of Friends? Is this season 3 or 4 clip show?
yeah, there's no such thing as a bad episode of Friends, but just the feeling of like, oh, I have to wait another week for a real episode.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Was it a
Yeah,
Thanksgiving episode by any chance? Like it's
I,
usually like a holiday episode or something like
yeah, yeah, you're right. It could have been.
that.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay,
yeah. I don't quite remember,
okay.
but Yeah, or it could have been a Ross and Rachel one where they're like flashing back to their,
Oh, that would make sense too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
flashing back to all their like close calls. But in this one, so yeah, like Jason said, they actually show her going back and they replay those moments. And so that, I mean, that was a big part of this episode, which again, it's like, I'm not going to rehash those in detail again. So it's
yeah,
like there's 10 minutes of the episode.
yeah,
But
yes, yeah.
um so at the same time, Leland, who is infected with Control's nanobots or whatever, is, comes on board Discovery. And a lot of these things, people who had been in contact with the time crystals had foreseen. You know, Burnham had foreseen him coming on board. Um, there's also, a torpedo that lodges itself into the Enterprise, which is something that Pike had foreseen when he got the time crystal. And it doesn't detonate. It sticks into the hole. But Leland and Giorgio have a massive fight, hand to hand combat. She holds her own, and it's a knockdown, drag out fight that goes on for a long time.
Uh-huh. With the
So
security officer as well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I forget her name.
Um,
I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. So she gets him eventually into the spore drive container,
Yeah.
this own little cage, and later on in the episode, she turns it on and basically evaporates him and kills Leland. Um, and then with the missile, the torpedo stuck in the hull of Enterprise, the the fleet, is she a commander? What is her title?
The
The
Admiral,
admiral, the
Admiral
admiral,
Cornwall. Or
Admiral
Admiral
Coral.
Cornwall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of the episode where they're trying to disarm the torpedo. They're trying everything they can. They can't
Yeah.
figure it out. Eventually, it's on like a timer, and eventually she says, you know, either I pull the blast door open and I go with it, or we all die. So it's an easy choice.
Yeah.
And and she basically says that to Pike. And I was a little surprised Pike didn't protest or volunteer himself. I mean, we know that he can't die because he has to go on and do other stuff.
Yep.
And he does say something like, it's my ship. I should go down with the ship. But on the other hand, it's his admiral giving him an order.
Yeah.
And I think that was really what it was, is that he couldn't say no to her because it was an
Yeah.
order, and he has to follow orders. And
Yeah.
so she ordered him to leave. He left. She pulled the thing, flies into space. It explodes. She dies and rips a huge chunk into Enterprise. But as far as I know, she was the only one who died from that blast.
Yeah.
So yeah, but lots of casualties otherwise in sick bay. Man, I'm having a hard time remembering everybody's names this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I
but
know.
but like in sick
Because
bay,
they
like,
weren't mentioned. They're not mentioned in the episode.
yeah,
But
like,
anyways.
Stamets gets impaled. He's alive, but his partner, was it Poland? Is that his name? Dr. Poland?
Culber. Hugh Culber.
Colbert. Oh, there is a Dr. Poland though.
Yeah. That.
Um,
Yeah. 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 Dr. Poland is the female doctor, I believe.
yeah, sorry. See, I told you I can't remember names right now.
It's all good.
Um, yeah, so Colbert, if we remember, they split up because Colbert is like a regenerated version of his old self. He didn't feel like himself, so he didn't feel connected to Stamets anymore. But so initially Colbert was going to go with Enterprise, but he comes back to Discovery and starts treating Stamets and basically professes his love again to him. So
Mm-hmm.
they're back together, and we assume Stamets will be okay. Probably got a long road ahead of him, but yeah. And so again, back to Burnham. She does her thing, then comes back and is making her run where she's going to basically like tugboat Discovery through. They're kind of like, well, you're going through, like, we're going into this wormhole, basically. How are we going to find you? And she says, I'll create another signal. So just follow the signal. Spock, because initially Spock was going to go, but we know that Spock can't go because he has to go be in the original series.
And so many other things.
At so many points. Yeah. Uh, he ends up staying. He can't go because he's like his shuttle gets hit. He's like kind of marooned out in this battle. Time is of the essence, so she's got to leave him. They have a tearful goodbye, and he says something like, "Please send a signal back so that I know that you made it."
Yeah.
And things are hairy. Hundreds, maybe thousands of these drones are attacking. And then the unlikely friends that was referenced in the synopsis. So the Klingons come, and the Klingons bring a giant ship, and it just comes and it just clears a path, um, enables the Discovery to follow Burnham, and they're winning the battle on all fronts. And at that point, then Giorgio has then killed Leland, and they go through the wormhole, and we don't see them in the future. We just see them go into the wormhole, and then from that point forward, we're only at the perspective of Pike on the Enterprise, and Spock is waiting for the signal to confirm that they made it. It takes a long time, but it does eventually come. Meanwhile, Enterprise goes back to Earth, gets the needed repairs. They do the space dock thing and they repair it. And the episode ends with Enterprise um, deploying from that dock and going on their way.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So that was a fantastic synopsis. The only small thing you missed was so when they come back to Earth, they're interrogated by Starfleet security.
Right.
And here's where they retcon, if you will, why the spore drive can't be talked about,
Yes.
why Discovery can't be talked about. And you and
Yes.
I knew that this was coming in some fashion. We just didn't
I
know how
actually
or when.
I actually didn't predict it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought the last couple of episodes we talked about that they're gonna have to like retcon or at least explain why we don't hear about the spore drive and
Yeah.
Discovery.
Well, we're talking about how so much of this show this season feels like a big apology
Yeah,
for season one, where it's like, oh, this is a
yeah, basically.
prequel to the original series, but we have all this fancy technology that doesn't exist. Like, how do you explain that? But I think in my head, I thought that Discovery being singular and then it going to the future served that purpose of, well, now it's gone. Our, like, you know, um, our high end ship, our one of a kind, is now gone.
Yeah.
And but so, like, that was interesting how they, so the reason why they were lying and they had all got their stories straight and they all told the same story is because they wanted to erase any trace what what control is after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because yeah, if they physically removed the data set, to the future. But if the knowledge of it was still there, then Control would know about it, and then
Right.
Control could feasibly go to the future and go after it.
Right.
And this way, you know, the truth dies with them, I guess, is
Yeah.
what they were thinking. But um, by the way, I want to apologize. Both Jason and I are getting over colds, so there's lots of
Yeah.
throat clearing and coughing.
Yeah.
Um, but like, even though that was the in-universe explanation, like you said, you and I know that that's them like shoring it up. And
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think of Bail Organa at the end of episode 3 saying like, have these droids memories wiped or whatever,
Yeah.
where in just in one instant, in 1 second, just erased the whole problem of the droids existing during these times when it doesn't make sense for them to have been there before. They just, you know, wave of the wand, problem
Yeah.
solved.
Yeah.
Um,
The power of storytelling, buddy.
yeah, but I mean, like in this show, it's like, okay, well, you had to do that, but that begs the question, like, should you have set up a situation where you needed to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It totally, thank you for bringing that up because it totally smelled of, ah, we've done something that we kind of like sort of regret a little, and
Yeah,
now we got to go back and kind of fix it.
yeah, an apology.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I have to imagine that some of that was backlash from the fandom.
I can imagine that being so. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But I mean, it just seems so obvious, right? It's like, wouldn't you like? Doesn't that seem like that's obviously how people would react? I don't know.
I mean, I you would think, but apparently not. I mean, because they obviously they made those creative decisions to be, I don't know, fancy, to be different. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Yeah, it was. I think it was an ego thing,
Yeah,
but but
because then they walked it all back,
yeah,
right? They
yeah,
walked quite a bit of it back. And if it weren't, then you were to tell us, oh, that was planned and we did do it that way for very specific reasons. But clearly you didn't because you walked it all back.
yeah, exactly. Agreed. So, but the thing is, for me and you, not our problem anymore.
Nope.
um, yeah. So, what would you give this episode, Jason?
Uh, I can't give it like a great episode. I mean, it's a good episode. I'd probably give it 2.5 pips. Lieutenant Commander's episode. I think it's a little unfair if I gave it, just uh, you know, um, a two pipper. Like a lieutenant kind of thing. Kind of
Yeah.
low because it was a good episode. A lot of moments. I really thought Admiral Cornwell could have lived. I think she would have made a great addition to Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Hmm.
That would have been really interesting to have more brass at Starfleet Command. I love that we got to see the Enterprise a little bit more as well here too. And I haven't done this in a long time. I don't think I've done this, the call out that I'm about to do, but when Spock looks in the mirror and decides to do a clean shave
Hmm.
and he walks onto the bridge and everyone turns around and it's, oh, okay, that's the clean shaven Spock we know.
Yeah.
Um, that was really, really interesting to now see the growth of that character from the lost boy man, you know, just lost your sister again, or not again, but just lost your sister, and then to kind of have this new lease on life, this new, literally face on life in life. So I thought that was a really interesting moment. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was like you said, it's a space battle. It was a space battle, not too much to really talk about. I mean, to analyze
Yeah.
or anything like that, or break
S-
down or anything like that. What
Speaking
about
of
you?
Spock, yeah, speaking of Spock, he
Uh-huh.
did tell Burnham that he loves her in Vulcan.
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, none of these episodes are bad.
Yeah.
It's just when you step back and you're thinking about expectations, and we talk about Star Trekkiness a lot,
We do.
and and when you do that, like if this was Star Trek and it went on for 12 seasons, I would have dropped off. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
even though it's not bad, it's not good enough to like keep people. It this would not stand the test of time. So um I guess
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I gave the last episode an 80%. I feel like I'm right in that same range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so Jason, do you remember when Enterprise launches, what they said their mission was going to be? Did they say specific?
Enterprise.
Yeah, at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't exactly the it wasn't exactly the 5-year mission, but it was to explore strange new worlds and seek out new civilizations to that effect.
Okay, I thought they had a specific destination though.
Could be. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was right at the end. So
Uh, could
El
be.
Eldrin 2,
Oh,
Pike
okay,
remarks,
okay, okay,
or
okay.
sorry, I said Eldrin, that's not right. Edrin 2?
Edrin 2. Okay, yep. Okay,
Yeah, Pike remarks a new moon has been found.
okay. And
Pike
Edrin
suggests
2.
Pike suggests they take the Enterprise out for a spin. And then Spock says, "Let us see what the future holds." So apparently that's where they're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't know. Is that where they pick up Strange New World season 1? Potentially. Potentially. Oh man. It's been a while.
Cool.
Maybe. Maybe. It could just be a, you know, a random planetary moon body.
Yeah, and it is like in the same scene where they say they found like the seventh signal, but I guess I don't remember if Edrin 2 is where that signal was. Because that would kind of go against their whole
Yeah,
keeping this a secret.
I don't think they warped there. It was just they picked it up and
Yeah,
acknowledged that.
cool.
Yeah. Because as you just said, it would be, it would go against what they
Yeah.
said, and they would be committing act of treason if they did that.
Possibly, yeah. They would be
Ridiculous.
compromising. They'd be compromising
Ridiculous.
Discovery if they did that.
Right, right, right.
Okay. Well, like we said, we believe our next episode is the cage.
The cage.
95% sure
Yep.
we will confirm that, but expect us to weirdly touch on the original series for 1 week and then go to Strange New Worlds
Yeah.
after that.
Yep.
Very exciting stuff.
Yes,
Okay, and Jason, we have a new Star Wars
we
show.
do.
Are you caught up?
I am. Are there 3 episodes now? Because I'm
Yeah,
2 episodes in.
there are three now.
Okay. It is.
Okay.
Um, as far, I mean, in 2 episodes, I mean, uh, for me, this is this generation's ET or the Goonies,
Yeah,
basically. For me, I don't know how you feel about that,
absolutely. Yeah,
but yeah, this is this generation's the Goonies. And you know what?
sure.
If there is a new episode, I will probably, once we're done here, I'll probably switch over to and watch uh Skeleton Crew. Because it
Cool.
is, I
Yeah,
mean, it is interesting. It took me a long time. It kind of took me a while to get into it.
sure.
Um, yeah. So without giving too much away, what do you think this forbidden planet that they're from is all about? You know, they talk about the
Yeah,
Great Barrier and it's got
yeah,
all of these things on it.
yeah. So episode three reveals a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess I just won't say too much. We don't know everything after episode
Right.
three,
Okay.
but we know quite a bit. So we can talk about it if you get caught up. So the new episodes air on Tuesdays. So
Oh, okay. Okay. For some reason I
yeah,
didn't think it didn't come out until today or yesterday
yeah,
and I just hadn't had a chance.
yeah.
Okay.
Very weird. Very weirdly, it comes out on Tuesdays. So
Interesting. Okay. And do we know if Jude Law is the pirate captain that got overthrown
yeah,
because of
yeah,
one credit?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So, we were
Big
talking about
surprise there.
how, so we were right as far as the placement of it, because you and I were predicting that it was after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and then we were talking about how it's not for us. Um,
Yeah.
like I have a very high tolerance for like Star Wars stuff,
Yeah.
but I was telling you about, like the Young Jedi Adventures, which is something my daughter watches.
Yeah. Is it on par with that? It seems a little bit
No,
older.
it's way above that,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
but just in the sense of like it's a Star Wars show. Shouldn't I watch every episode?
Yeah.
Um, that one is so like episodic and
Oh,
um
interesting.
it's like clearly it's choosing style over anything else, and so
Yeah.
it's like it's just for kids, and like this show was clearly targeting the Stranger Things fans, which is
Oh,
Spielberg,
it is. Okay.
like Spielbergian, I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
the ETs, the Goonies, stuff like
So
that.
like
So
teens, preteens
yeah,
deal? Okay.
well, but I mean, yes, but more probably like 20 to 30-year-olds are into it. I mean,
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
guess I guess you and I are supposed to be into it for the nostalgia factor, but
Nostalgia factor of this show. What
no, I'm
nostalgia?
still I'm still talking about Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you and I are supposed to be like watching it and harkening back to like the old Spielberg movies and
Oh, okay, got it.
you
Okay,
know,
sorry.
80s culture, the whole
Gotcha.
retro aesthetic.
Gotcha.
But and I do think a lot of millennials are into it, but I do think like Gen Z is the one who made it this like phenomenon. So
Okay.
yeah.
So what do you think of
Um,
Skeleton Crew so far?
well, I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying is that it feels like Star Wars and Stranger Things
Oh,
had a baby.
okay.
And so I feel like it's just not for me. And but I'm surprised at the reception of it. So like, like on X, I follow a lot of Star Wars people,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and they're all like over the moon about it.
Yeah,
And they all love it. And then like the Rotten Tomato score is really high.
I saw
And
that. I mean,
yeah,
you
a
showed it to
lot.
me. Yeah, it's really high. I'm like 95% or whatever it
Yeah.
was so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, and just a lot of the commentary is like, man, this is like the greatest Star Wars we've had in years and years. And I do think that that nostalgia factor applies to this too, the like the pirates booty like from the Goonies and stuff like that. Like I think we're supposed to like yearn for those things and then apply it to this universe. But it's just ultimately not for me. I I I I'll watch it. I'll keep watching it, but um the callbacks are too specific for me, like the reusing of dialogue, the reusing of scenes.
Ah.
There's so many times when a scene will, like the button on a scene will be a direct callback to a previous line from Star Wars. And
I did not pick up on that. Oh, interesting.
yeah, like right out of the gate when the pirates board that ship,
Yeah.
he holds the guy up and the guy says, "We're a bulk freighter." And like that's clearly the Darth Vader thing. We're on
Yeah.
a diplomatic mission.
Right, 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 right,
Um
right, right.
the
Can I just mention that was a pretty like
Yeah,
in your face, gruff,
yeah,
gruesome, not gruesome, but like dark tone to start. I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay."
yeah, like the three-eyed alien guy got shot
Yeah.
in the eye, in
Yeah,
one of his eyes.
and then it gets lighter after that. I'm like, "Oh, interesting. Interesting way
Yeah,
to set the tone for the show."
I had the same thought. Very violent and lots of death and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
And then we turn to idyllic, you know, 1950s suburbia
yeah,
in
exactly.
space.
Yeah. So um yeah, it I like it. It's just it's not, it's no Ahsoka or it's no Andor,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm
And
at.
and was it Diego Luna or Stellan Skarsgård that said Andor is kind of like Star Wars but for adults. And I totally
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. That's what I like. Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this one is very much so I did rewatch it and I said, okay, but this time go back to your 20-year-old self as much as possible. And I was like, you know what? If I were, 18, 19, 15, in that 15, 16, 20 range, I'd be like, yeah, I think this is pretty interesting, pretty cool, but you know,
Yeah. Um lots and lots and lots of Easter eggs. You know, so just a couple things. So Neil, the blue elephant trunk
okay,
big-eared
yes,
guy.
okay,
Um
yes, 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 yes.
so first comment, I hate when Star Wars does this or any media does this. When so he clearly looks a lot like Max Rebo from
Yeah, the
Jabba's
blue elephant piano player.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But they've said no, they're not the same species.
Oh, come on.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man. Okay, fine. Fine.
And see,
Oh,
the first
I
time that
get that though. I mean, they're not exactly the same. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know how I feel about that.
the first time I recall this happening was when like you would learn more about Boba Fett,
Yeah.
and um for the longest time is like, oh, he's a Mandalorian. But then they like made it quote unquote more interesting and said, no, he just has Mandalorian armor. He's not a Mandalorian.
Yes.
And then so stuff like that where it's like they they clearly reference a thing or they make you believe one thing, but then just to like, append the table or whatever, they say, no, it's not that.
Yeah.
And then pretend that that's like nuance or making it interesting or keeping you on your toes. And it's like, it's just needless to me.
The
And
weirder one to me, I'm sorry, but the weirder
yeah, go
one
ahead.
to me is Mando. He's
Yeah,
not Mandalorian.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because he was like adopted or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. To your point, he's not. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and then even though like in the show Boba Fett, um, they reestablish him as a Mandalorian. It
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
all it, again, and like we're talking about, it feels like an apology. It's like, but then you have to go through all of that to get him back to that point. It's like, well, then doesn't that kind of admit that it was a stupid idea to like
Yeah.
not have him be a Mandalorian
Yeah. Yeah.
in the first place?
Yeah.
Um, so there's always been a lot of stuff like that in Star Wars, in my opinion. Um, and so even though I'm talking about the species of one of the kids, it seems kind of stupid. It's just like, well, then if he's not Max Rebo's species, why not just create a whole new species? Like,
Yeah.
like why even go there?
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, I'm curious if that kind of harkens back. Obviously it does to Max Grebo, but I'm curious if they just wanted it for that nostalgic sake. It kind of reminds you, but it's not. He's a different blue tusked, yeah,
right.
long nose, you know,
Hmm.
alien species. It is interesting.
Yeah, I don't
Uh
like it. I don't approve.
yeah, that is. I mean, I guess yeah, yeah. Ugh.
Um,
How many blue elephant species in the galaxy are there? But anyways,
yeah, exactly. Um, hmm. Well, so yeah, there's other examples of that, but so anyway, what I was starting to say, so Neil has siblings. The siblings are watching on the hologram table. So did you recognize what they were watching?
I did not.
It was from the Star Wars holiday special. It was like a
Oh,
frame
it
by
was.
frame recreation of it.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't honestly. I didn't pay that close of attention to when they were watching it. But as soon as it came out, I was like, this has got to be something. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's probably the most batshit Easter egg thing that could
Okay,
possibly
okay,
happen.
okay. That's fun. I think that's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. And it's funny too because like, they've kind of always denied the existence of it,
Right.
but then them like bringing it into the show now makes it canon
Well,
and
I
makes it a
mean,
real thing.
yeah, I mean, they did, but they didn't at the same time though. There are a lot of times when like in like universe they would like talk about, not in universe, but like they would mention it, have Easter eggs to it, Chewie having a wife or whatever and kids or whatever the case might be. They've always kind of like walked a fine line of like, is it or is it not?
Yeah.
I think it totally
Yeah.
softened, right? I think to your point, they did not acknowledge it for a long, long time because it was such a psychological horror. Um, but
Yeah.
then over time, they kind of softened from what it feels like.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't find it anywhere. You can't purchase
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's not obviously it's not on Disney.
Right.
Um, there is an interview, I think it's with Mark Hamill, and he's like the first rule of the Star Wars Christmas special is that you don't talk about the Star Wars Christmas special. Um, s- um, so I thought that was cool. And it, like, the only way you can watch it is on YouTube, like a bootleg copy.
Yep.
And then and even then,
Hmm.
there's sections that I've never been able to find. There's an animated Boba Fett part that
I've seen
is,
like 5 seconds of it. There's
yeah,
you can
I have
find like
too.
small little clips of it, yeah, but not the whole
Yeah,
thing.
right. So, um,
Which is interesting because they make reference to it though, from what I understand. From what I understand, in universe they have made like pseudo references to it. Like I understand that there were like species that they've taken from it, aliens
mm,
they've taken from it, or whatever the case might be. I don't know.
yeah, probably. Um, you know, for some reason, I think one of the creatures from the Ewok adventures maybe was from it or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, there's just a bunch of crazy Easter eggs in the show. So if you remember that like flying marsupial thing in the cage, it's like fuzzy pink or something. So
Yes.
there's
For
another,
one of the kids.
yeah, so I didn't know this until I saw it online, which is that that is actually an Easter egg to this like short film that like Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas did. Um, I don't know what it was called, but
Oh.
just like this very, very obscure film that apparently cost like $23 million and it was 20 minutes long. And
Hmm. Wow.
that creature is straight from that short film.
Wow. That's cool. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And then did you get the so the droid, the first mate droid SM-33?
Yes.
So his name is Smee. If you flip the threes, his name is
Oh,
Smee.
is that a reference to Hook?
Well, I mean it's Peter Pan. Smee
Yeah.
is a Peter Pan.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean but I mean I don't know if it's specifically Hook or just Peter Pan in general because it's pirates, right?
Right. Oh, it's me in the broader. I haven't seen Peter Pan, the animated one, or any of the other ones in
Yeah.
so long. Is he not just in Hook?
He's in all of them, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's cool. That's cool.
He's played by Bob Hoskins, I
Yeah,
believe,
in
in
Hook.
Hook. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, but he's in the animated stuff too. And
Good morning, Neverland.
yeah, so
The
they're just
hostess with the mostest. Give your hands up because he's only got one. James Hook.
dude, I love that. See, Hook is a movie that you and I like that movie a lot. I think it's
Love
great.
it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I feel like there's like an age group from like me to you that thinks that was the greatest movie ever.
Oh
And then
yeah, it
like
is the greatest movie ever.
and then everyone else
Yeah.
thought it was bad. And
Yeah.
like critics hated it. And
Yeah.
even Steven Spielberg has like said he regrets making it. And I'm just like,
No.
and
No.
I didn't find that out until a couple of years ago. I was like,
No.
really? People
No.
don't like Hook?
Yeah, no.
Hook was the greatest movie ever made. What are you
Sorry.
talking about?
Robin Hood. Robin Williams, Maggie
Yeah,
Smith,
yeah.
uh
Dustin
uh
Hoffman,
Dustin Hoffman, Bob Hoskins, Julia Roberts, and
Julia
a
Roberts,
young what's her face? Uh uh
Wendy.
sunscreen smells like my vagina candle. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, she's in it.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow is a young flashback Wendy or Moira,
Okay.
but I want to say it's when she plays a young Wendy. Or is it or does she play Moira? One of those two.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did not know that. That's
yeah.
crazy. Um,
It's a
yeah,
fantastic movie.
it is a fantastic
In a lot
movie.
of ways, it's kind of like Skeleton Crew, in some ways, I guess. But
Oh,
anyways,
exactly. Yeah, no, it's right it's right there for
yeah,
us. That whole era of movies, but I feel like Hook was the apex of it because it had a
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah, yeah,
budget and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
big names and everything. I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
So,
it's such a cool story. Like Peter Pan grows up and has to refine himself again. What a cool story. He gets married and has kids.
but like the set design was so good. Like you feel like it felt like the way Disneyland looks, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah,
is
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Absolutely. Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Absolutely.
like real life magic or something.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Neverland is like they took they just shot it at Disney
At
World.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, um, so tons and tons of stuff. I'm missing stuff. Part of the reason I'm missing stuff is because I don't know like what to call them. And there's also just so many of them. I
Yeah.
mean,
I can
they're
imagine.
just there's so many dialogue references where like even stuff that the kids say to each other is straight from the original movies. Changed a little bit, but they're clearly
It's
like,
a it harkens back. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally. I can
yeah.
totally see that and I don't yeah. So what do you think Jude Law's character like is because apparently he's going to be a pretty not just important character to the show obviously, but to the broader universe apparently.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to wait to talk about it till you get
Oh,
caught
okay.
up.
So episode 3
Yeah.
does get to it a lot. Okay, okay, okay. Fair enough.
I mean, there's still a lot of mystery around him.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just don't want to say too much.
Okay. Nope. Nope.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Yep. Yep. I just gotta catch up.
yeah. So good stuff though. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
Uh, no. I think we covered it really.
Cool. Well, in that case, thanks everyone for listening and watching. Follow us on all the stuff. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on X. And we appreciate you listening. And thank you, Jason.
Thank you, buddy.
And um, till next time, live long and prosper.
Yeah, and may the force be with you.
See ya.
Take care. All right, buddy.